So we just got finished with ministry in Milltown, whatever that city's called. Township. Town, I don't care. So I had to look up the ordinance because, of course, the cops got called again. Big whoop, big deal. It happens every day, right? The funny part is, I look at the ordinance, and this city doesn't have a permissible sound level, meaning you actually need a permit to exercise your freedom of speech, to exercise your First Amendment rights of being a human being in the United States, where your amendment rights are supposed to triumph, right? Over a city ordinance, over a so-called police regulation and whatnot. It's supposed to triumph over that because your First Amendment rights, they've been in motion, they've been there for hundreds of years already. Like, seriously. But this is the funny part that I don't understand. The cop comes, he says, you gotta have a permit. I'm looking at the ordinance, and they have a maximum sound levels of sorts of, like, I think it was like, it was between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. You can't be over, like, 50 decibels, 45 decibels, yada yada. Okay, whatever. The cop, however, didn't offer him to turn it down, didn't offer no negotiation or anything like that. You gotta leave, just like that, just like that. Because you got your panties in a bunch one day, you wanted to protect your people, and you wanted to make your city great, or whatever you thought was going to happen. But nobody in your city decided to say, hey, can we vote on this? Since you're trying to protect us, can we vote how we're being protected? Can we vote on the city ordinance that's in my so-called city that I'm going to be from, or I'm choosing to live in, or what have you? So I'm conflicted with the fact that we have our First Amendment rights, we have the amendment rights, period, that's supposed to help us with these little ordinances and keeping the law straight, all this political nonsense. But in the last, I would say in the last even 20 years, there's been more police brutality, there's been more death by police officers, there has been more police officers charging innocent people and putting them in prison, jail, persecuting them, and everything under the sun that you can think of to innocent people. More of that just in the last 20 years of that little bit of time. But they want to act like we're the bad guys because we want to preach the gospel. Help people get out of the rut that they are in and reach for something greater than themselves called Jesus Christ. You're doing me a favor by calling the city cop or city police, whatever city we're in. You're doing me a favor by them shutting us down and us going home early? No, you're not. We were in that city for like an hour and some change. The gospel went out, people heard the word, and that city was warned. You didn't stop those three things. The joke's on you, for those who did call the cops. But hey, you know, it is what it is. Not everybody's going to accept the gospel, and we know that very well. But for you to call the cops and sit there and whine to them when they've got better things to do than to kick out a street preacher, a watchman, that's pathetic, man. That is seriously pathetic. But hey, this is the world we live in, right? And we just gotta roll with the punches. So seriously, for those of you who are watching this video now, or who've seen this after we posted, or whatever it may be, for you, those of you who view this at some point, and we go to your city next, you're not doing us a favor by calling the cops, because the gospel's already going out. The conviction's already going out. We're already doing our job. It's already being done. You calling the cops at us because your little feelings got hurt by you being convicted of your own sins, you're not actually hurting us. we get to pack up, go home early. Sure, we would want to spend more time with people and reach for people, tell more people, and do one-to-ones. But you stopping the gospel for one night, it's no longer blood on our hands. It's blood on your hands. If you're willing to live with blood on your hands and your conscience, I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy, but whatever floats your boat. So, for those of you who call the cops, good for you. You're not really hurting anybody. You're just depriving people of the true gospel of Jesus Christ and us reaching people more. That's it. But when we go to small cities like yours and there's hardly nothing around, the gospel's going to get out one way or another, whether we tell them or you guys tell them after we leave, because that's how small cities work. Word of mouth goes around and around and around and around in circles because you guys got nothing better to do in your city, and the gospel's going to get out one way or another.